All right, today we're going to be working on the short game. I'd like for you to see that we're going to be using 3 different swings. We're going to start with the 1/4 swing, which is 7-5 or either 8-4. Also, I'll be using a 9-3, which is a half a swing, and I'll also be using a 10-2 or either 11-1, which is basically a 3/4 swing. So you'll be seeing 3 different swings at 3 different distances. Okay, today we're setting up for a short game lesson. You have here a tunnel concept, which basically we want to keep our body and our clubs inside the tunnel. As you can see, you see a right and left side of the tunnel. Your hands on your follow through should never cross the left side noodle that you see. And everything should be going forward through the center line, which is your target line, which you see the orange plank that's down at the bottom. You see the red planks because that's what your tunnel. You have to visualize this when you're on the golf course. I'm going to show you now the distance that we have. And the first distance we have is about 15 yards. Then you go 10-yard increments. The next one is actually about 25 yards. The next one is about 30 yards, and to the back fence, which basically you see the last pole, which is about 35 yards. So basically we're going to be working within 35 yards today. This is the clock in which we will use for the concepts of the short game and also the full swing and approach shots to the green. Using the clock concept makes it easier to rely more on the swing and not on guessing, because basically when you create a swing at a certain time on the clock, it gives you a distance that can be consistent in anywhere that you go. So please, let's pay attention to the clock as we study these concepts, and study the clock as you go along, learning how to swing and moving from 0 to 325 yards. The first swing is with the lob wedge. We're going 10 to 20 yards, basically 10 yards. So as you see here, we're making a swing that is only 7-5. And all we want to do is stop the club at 5 so that we can control the accuracy and distance of the swing. This is when the ball is only maybe 15 yards off of the green and you're chipping it up, trying to get to the hole in one shot. Okay, now we're going to move to the sand wedge, which gives us 20 to 30 yards. Notice that there is always a 10-yard roll or release. That is very important. So actually for this shot, I'm looking for the ball to end up 30 to 40 yards from where the ball is in front of the green. Okay, now we're going to the gap wedge at 30 to 40 yards. That's when we're trying to get 40 to 50 yards on the chip because you need that, again, 10-yard release. The ball will already release once it hits the landing spot. So 30 to 40 is the landing spot, and there's 40 to 50 at the ending of the roll, which should get us right next to the flag. Remember the 10-yard release. That is very important. Okay, next we have the pitching wedge at the same swing, which is 7 to 5, which will go 40 to 50 yards to the landing spot. Then we got a 10-yard release, which would give us 50 to 60 yards for this chip. Okay, next we have the 8 to 4. We need a little more. We need more of the 20 yards, so we're using a lob wedge because we don't want a lot of roll, but we only want to go about 20 to 25 yards with this chip. So there always is going to be, with this chip, a 5 to 8 yard roll. If you notice in the background, there is a uphill terrain. So therefore, you're not getting that roll to the distance that you're looking for. It's basically working on the landing spot because the landing spot is very important. Okay, next we have the sand wedge at 8 to 4. We're trying to get 30 yards and a 10-yard roll so that we can end up with a 40-yard chip. Again, the 10 yards is for the release. So we're 30 yards with this chip, 8 to 4 swing with a sand wedge. Okay, now we have the gap wedge at an 8-4 swing. We need 40 yards and a 10-yard roll. So basically, we're trying to get at a 50-yard chip. With that 10-yard roll, we need a landing spot of 40 yards. So this is the swing that will get us the 40 yards so we can end up with a 50-yard chip. Our next swing is with the pitching wedge. We're going 8-4 with the swing. We want to end up at 60 yards, so therefore our landing spot is about 50 yards so that we can get the 8 to 10 yard roll to our 60-yard flag. Okay, now we're going to change swings. We're doing a half a swing, which gives us on the clock 9-3. We're going to use a lob wedge because we only want maybe 20 yards for our landing spot, and then maybe a 5 to 8 yard roll to give us about 25 to 28 yards on the actual chip. But because it's a lob wedge, it will bite and stay close to 25 yards. Our next swing will be a sand wedge, half a swing, 9-3, giving us about 30 yards on the landing spot, 10-yard roll, so we should end up about 40 yards with a sand wedge 9-3 swing. Next swing is 9 to 3, a half a swing. We want to get 50 yards, so we're going to use a landing spot of 40 yards so we can get a 10-yard roll. Please notice that you must count these steps out. Using the rangefinder sometimes is good, but you want to count these out. It's best to do it manually so that you can also feel the contour of the green and see if the green is rolling right or rolling left. So that is very important that you walk this distance off. This swing, which is a 3/4 swing, we're doing 9 to 2. Sometimes it's 10 to 2 according to how high you want the ball to go, but you're basically going 25 to 30 yards. And with this kind of swing, the ball usually stops on the green and gives you less roll. But this is the swing that you want to use when you're going over bunkers or you're going up a hill, when you can't see the actual flag, but you know the distance. So distance is very important, that you get it within 20 to 30 yards with this swing. Swing to a distance that you may not be able to see, but it's there. The 20 to 30 yards with a lob wedge. Trust it. It is very important that you see impact with chipping. You have to trust the swing. That's why you want to learn the distances and the swing so that you can trust it. You don't have to look up to see where the ball is going, but it is more important that you see impact. These are very delicate swings, sometimes on delicate terrain. Your lie might not be the best of lie, so looking at the impact of the club hitting the ball is very important.